Nothing like a good hot cup of coffee early in the morning. Hello everyone, Gilbert here. Welcome to Red Dragon Modelworks. The other day I uploaded a video explaining what I was going to do as far as a series of videos I was going to post. Basic videos I was going to post concerning airbrushes. Now, since then, and I uploaded those on Friday, so since Friday I've gotten some very good responses to it. And I've gotten a few questions. What I do want to dispel right this minute is they are not going to be advanced tutorials on how to do it. Not in these series of videos. What I intended to do, and I'll explain why. What I intend to do is to do a series of basic videos on how to maintain your airbrush, what kind of airbrush one should look for when depending on their applications, what they're going to use for one, when they're trying to either buy one or upgrade to one, what to avoid, how to mix your paint, and how to troubleshoot. That's basically what I'm going to stick with, guys. I just want basic information out there. And the reason being is, you know, as I mentioned in that video on Friday, last Friday, there's a lot of good information out there from very good and talented artists, but there's also a lot of misinformation. And a lot of times, you know, some information is teased out as being something that person has figured out on their own, and they hide it behind the Patreon firewall. Now, I've got no problem with anyone making a few dollars. I really don't. And if anyone, and I've shied away from taking products to review them because I didn't want anyone or any ambiguity in what I was doing. I didn't want any gray area there. I've since thought about that in the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to start accepting offers from people to review products. You're going to get my honest opinion on them. Some people don't like that, but that's exactly what's going to happen. So with these airbrush videos, those of you that know me, that have been members or subscribed to me for years, know that I use a variety of different airbrushes. I'm not married to one that's particular. I use everything from a Posh H to an Iwata to Badger. I had a Grex, but I don't have it anymore. I have a Harder and Steenbeck. So I use 4 different airbrushes, 4 different companies, and each one is specifically tailored to what I'm going to use it for, what application. Doesn't mean you have to do that. I always tell people 2 airbrushes should be suffice, one with a 0.3, one with a 0.5 needle in there. If you can't do that, then a 0.3 suffices, but we'll get into all that later. So I just want to make these videos on basic information, how to clean your airbrush, how to tear it apart, how to maintain it, what to look for, etc., etc. So these are going to be spread out within a week or two, and there'll probably only be about 4, maybe 5 videos in the series, but I'm going to leave them up and then, you know, group them into a folder so the new person can always go back and look at it. The first video I put up was just a quick introduction on what we were going to do here, and I spoke about air compressors and how you set them up. I'll get into all that a little later on also, in depth, because there's a lot of misunderstanding as far as air compressors are concerned. People think they need the super silent ones, and I see why. I mean, I would love one. But you don't need an expensive air compressor. And again, we'll get in all that in a little bit. So, I thank you for sitting by watching. I hope grab yourself a cup of coffee. If you don't know much about how to tear apart an airbrush and how to put it back together, this is targeted to each and every one of you out there. So, give me a second here, fellas. Let me aim this camera right here. get everything together in front of me, and we'll talk about Airbrush 101, how to take apart an airbrush, how to clean it, and how to put it back together. Be back in a second, guys. All right, guys. Now, we're going to get into cleaning the airbrushes. Now, there's a variety of things you can use. What I'm going to use, I'm going to show you. It's all in front of me here. Here I have a homemade brew. I call it my blue fluid or my Jesus juice. What this is 1/3, right about here, of windshield washer fluid. 2/3. When I go 1/3, I go to about here. 1/3. Then about 2/3 is distilled water. The rest is either 91% isopropyl or denatured alcohol, whatever you want to use. I also drop a little bit of glycerin in this. There's a video on here. You can check it out in my archives of how to make this stuff right here. You can use any other kind. I mean, I also use some of this stuff from Vallejo's, the thinner. I have some Spectra that I have. I use everything from, and I'll show you a couple of drops of lacquer thinner, isopropyl, or the dreaded acetone. Now, I'll tell you with this stuff, you got to be really careful, guys. This will eat up a seal on a cheap airbrush if they're not solvent proof. You don't want to soak your airbrush in acetone. You just want to flush it through. Make sure you're in a ventilated place when you do this. You wear a mask, breathing mask, and you flush it out right away. But this stuff here, acetone, is cheap. I get it by the gallon. This stuff will clean any clog. It'll suck it right out of there. This stuff will eat right through it. Again, don't let it sit in your airbrush too long, though. It'll ruin your seals, especially if you got the rubber seals. For cleaning, there are different little. This one here is made by Iwata. I picked this up at Adepticon 2 years ago, I believe it was. Yeah, it might have been Adepticon 2 years ago. I bought a couple of sets of these just, to help my buddy Steve out. He works for them as a rep when they're in town. He was pushing those. He's a good friend of mine. What up, Steve? So I bought a couple of them. But this is my main tool. You can use just about any good tool to tear apart your airbrush, but this is what I use, guys. And inside, now, it's not cheap either. You can get these at Coast Airbrush, Chicago Airbrush, or online, Amazon, eBay. They run anywhere from $65 to $80 for this set. What do you get inside of it? Well, you get a pair of pliers with the plastic teeth on there so you don't ruin the finish on your airbrush. Spare container for a needle. You get these two wrenches. These wrenches are real good. With these, let's see if I can get up there so you can. Let me lower that so you guys can see. If you can see that, you got a flathead on that. This piece right here, you slide it into your airbrush. Get it to that little screw that holds your seal on there. You unscrew it. You pull it right out. This will help you pull the seal and everything out. When you're ready, you don't lose your screw. You put everything on here, slide it back in, tighten it, and there it is. That's what these are for. They're seal wrenches. This wrench right here is for your nozzles. I'm sorry, the air nozzle on the bottom here. It's got two different sizes. This is for the Evolution. This is for the Revolution. I'm sorry. Yeah, for the Revolution and up. Unscrews that, pulls it all out so you don't scar up that screw on the bottom. You also have right here, this is a nozzle wrench for the Iwata. Everybody knows, those things are tricky, but this is really cool because you put it in there like so, and I'll show you how that works. You twist it, nozzle stays inside there, you don't lose it. So, and then I have a set of brushes. Now these brushes are nylon, they're not the metal kind. I always tell people when you're gonna buy these, make sure you buy the nylon, because if you buy the metal ones, you stick them inside your airbrush, you start reaming everything out, you end up ruining your airbrush, ruining the seals. Now, there are, I run out. I use the dental pick, the inner dental picks, the paper ones to clean the nozzles out. I don't have any right now. I'm waiting. I thought they would come in yesterday from eBay. I ran out of them. But I'll leave a link down below of what those look like. Inside here, I have my beeswax. I'll show you what that's for. I have another, an interdental brush here. These are just as, I prefer this better than this. The only problem with this is they're not long enough. So you got your interdental brush. I keep a spare thing of lube in there. I also have right here a magnifying glass. This comes with the kit, guys. So you can see, check your needles, check your nozzles to see if any things wrong with them. And of course, a little LED light to look inside the airbrush. So this is what we're going to use right now, guys. So let me sit that down on the floor here and let me get my little, this, you can get it on Chicago Airbrush. I believe I saw it also on eBay. It's really nice. It's made out of non-skid rubber. I believe Badger makes their own version of something like this here. But this is really good when you're taking apart an airbrush, guys, because number one, it shows you everything here, but you don't lose parts because it's got this lip on it. So now what we're gonna break apart 3 airbrushes real quick. First, I'm going to show you the Posh H. This is probably the easiest airbrush to take apart. Again, like I said, it's a single action external feed out here airbrush. With these, they're very easy to clean. You just take that off. Take an Allen wrench. Forgive me, guys, I don't remember what the size of this Allen wrench is. This always stays. I've had this one with this for years. Loosen, and you should have done that at the beginning. You loosen your nozzle cap, pull the needle out, and check the needle. Now these things here, they're so good. I mean, these things are built like tanks, but they can get ruined if you drop them and bump that tip. This one is pretty clean, but you look for different, you'll look for like buildup, like right in here. The paint usually will build up in here. You just take something like that, clean them out, drop it in some fluid, bada bing, bada boom. You want to oil that, guys. So for that, I'll use some Red Gab. I'll take a little bit of the Red Gab, put a little bit on a Q-tip like so. Now Red Gab is made by Badger. That's their needle lube. I'll take a little bit, put it like right here, put a little bit on the threads, and that's it. That's how easy it is to clean a Posh H. What you want to remember, though, is to always, sometimes you'll have to take this off to clean it, but that's pretty easy. I mean, most likely you don't. Just run a Q-tip inside here, clean it out. You want to make sure you get this on correctly. You want to make sure that that is facing up, the hole is facing up. You get this, slide it all the way in, make sure that it's all the way through. I always run this down to make sure it doesn't come loose on me. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Like just now, it just moved on me. So I want to make sure that that hole where the paint comes out is facing up. So we'll do that. I'll tighten it down. Just like so. Bring this back down. That airbrush is clean. That's how easy those are. But I threw that in there, man, because, you know, hey, if we're going to talk about cleaning airbrushes, throw the Posh H. The Posh H is a single action airbrush versus a double action airbrush, meaning that when you press down, you get the air and the paint coming out. It's also an external fed airbrush, meaning that the paint will mix out here at the tip, not internally. So when you press down, you get the blast of air, and the suction will pull the paint out of the cup or the jar, pull it through your needle nozzle combo, and right about here at the very tip there is where it'll atomize and bada bing. Versus a double action internal mix. You have a single action internal mixes also, but this is a double action internal mix, meaning that when you press down, you get nothing but air. Press down, air. Pull back, you get air and paint. You press down and just gently pull back, you get a little bit of air and paint. The more you pull back, the more paint comes out. Same thing when you press down. Once you start pressing down on this, you get your paint that comes out, or your air. You can just barely bump it and get a little air. You push it all the way down, you get a lot of air. Paintable mix inside here. We're going to get to start cleaning this one right now. This is a, let me move this out of my way. This is a Iwata. This is the Iwata Eclipse. This is the Eclipse. This is the Badger Patriot 105. Both excellent airbrushes. This is more like your entry-level Iwata, not your Neo. Your Neo is made for Iwata by a Chinese company. It's not made by Iwata. There's a big difference, guys. It's the Neo is their entry level, one of their entry level airbrushes, but it's not made by Iwata. It's made for Iwata. Remember that. That doesn't mean it's a bad airbrush. It just means that it doesn't have the same specs or qualities that an Iwata made airbrush is. Although they're probably all made the same damn factory, but there's something to be said about that, because I believe there is one manufacturer in Japan that does manufacture airbrushes. They used to manufacture the ones, the Olympus, but we'll get into all that later. Okay, so let's talk about the Badger 105. This is, like I said, if you notice this little piece on the top here, this is, I usually do that to raise the trigger up for me. I like a taller trigger. You can get what they call, Badger sells a high roller trigger for these. They're pretty high. I've got a couple of them. They're on some of my other airbrushes, but in some instances I don't want one so high. So if you look here, you'll see the difference in the size of that bump. Some I like taller, some I don't. But all of my airbrushes have that on there, with the exception of maybe one or two. So this here piece, you can get them on, these are made by Badger, sold by Badger. You can get them on Amazon, by half dozen of them. They protect your nozzle, your needle nozzle. So this is the little cup that this is actually, I believe it's an Iwata cup cap that fits this. So, all right, now what we're gonna do, first thing is, I'm going to loosen the back there, and then I'm going to pull the needle. So what I'm going to do is, just like that, and then slowly pull that needle. So then I'll tighten this piece back down so I don't lose it, and then I'll remove the needle chuck guide, the spring guide, all that, the needle spring, all of it. So we'll remove that, and there that is. Pull the needle, and then here, pull that. That is your little trigger level, helps, move it back. Here's your trigger. So we got that. Now, I'm going to take apart the front. So we'll just crack that, pull this piece right off to get at the nozzle. Whoop, there it is. There's the nozzle. I should have taken this piece off, but I didn't. Anyway, I should have pulled that and I didn't do it. My bad. Anyway, there it is. There's your Patriot 105. That's how you take it apart. Now what I'm going to do here is, I've got a little cup here, put that down there, put a little bit of my cleaner into it, get a Q-tip. Now I want to clean the inside out. Now let me see if I can show you guys that. You take your little light, and then see that? You look down it, make sure it's nice and clean. As you can see, mine is. There's not a lot of gunk in there, and that's how I check to make sure that my seal is still okay and nothing's getting bad in there. So now that I know that's okay, I'll take a little Q-tip, run it on the inside, wipe it down. As you can see, it's fairly clean. Do that. Do the same with the nozzle here. Just take a little bit, do that. That's a little dirtier, and this is with me keeping mine clean, guys. See that? Then I'll take this little incidental brush. What did I do with it? This guy right here. Dip him in there, run him right inside there. Make sure that that's all clean. And as you can tell, pretty good. Some of you guys have these. I would use this one here. Dip it inside there, run it all the way through, back and forth. Make sure it's all clean. You can see it coming through the other end there. Here, let me get a light there so you guys can see. See that coming through the other end? Make sure that's all clean. And there you go. You shouldn't have to run this all the way through. Sometimes you do if you're getting paint back here, but that's another video altogether. So we do that. Now, these threads, I get a lot. I always tell people don't use pipe. You know, the Teflon tape on this. I don't like it. It can get inside here sometimes. I've seen it happen, believe it or not. So this is what I do, guys. At Walmart, at Hobby Lobby, at Michael's, you can get this little guy. I've had this guy for years. To be honest, I can't tell you how long I've had this little guy. As long as you keep it closed, the beeswax will stay inside there. This you can get in the sewing department at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, any place that sells, you know, sewing equipment. You go into the sewing department, you find this. They use it to put on the threads. So what you do is you take a little bit of this out. So you take this. I have a oh Jesus, what I do with it? I usually use a old needle or a toothpick, and I've got it right in front of me here. You take your toothpick. You just want a little bit, just a little bit. Just get yourself a little bit on the end of a toothpick, like so. Ball it up in your finger. And then you take it onto the threads, lay it there, and just squish it all the way around your threads. Now what this does is it's going to seal those threads. Same thing a Teflon tape will do. Without all the mess of a Teflon tape. Now we're going to put this bad boy together. Like I said, I look down to make sure everything is good. She's nice and clean in there. I've got no problem in the cup. Like I said, back here, you look inside there. Everything is hunky-dory, nice and clean. Bada bing, bada boom. The Badger Patriot has a press fit nozzle. Now, again, I mentioned that I didn't have the little incidental cleaners. With those paper picks, what you do is you'll run a paper pick through this end like so, and then it'll come out the other end, and that's how you can clean your nozzles. Now, you just noticed that I just pulled a little booger right there. See it? Right there. Out of my airbrush. And that's with me cleaning them, guys. So these nozzles, just because you think they're super clean, every now and then, just go inside and do what I just did here. Or you can soak them a little bit in some fluid. Some guys stick these inside of a sonic cleaner. I also take the needle and I do that just to make sure that it goes all the way through. See that? So, and then whatever comes out on the other end, I wipe it down. So that needle, there is nothing on the end of that needle. See? So, my nozzle is perfectly clean. So, be careful, don't bump your needle. So you take your nozzle with this. It's, again, like I said, it's press fit. Just sit it on there. Don't put any oil on that, nothing. Just sit it like this here. Take your nozzle cap. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I get to that, you can get a smaller needle set combo, I believe, for this here. This is their equivalent to, I don't know, their 5 needle, I guess. But when you change needles out, guys, remember, and this goes with any other airbrush, when you change needles from, say, a 5 to a 3, you also have to change the nozzle. You have to change that. I know, like Fernando Duarte, a while back, he bought some needles over at Hobby Lobby for his, I believe it was either his Eclipse or his Revolution, and didn't realize that you had to change the nozzle. Now, that's a common mistake a lot of people do. These nozzles are fitted for this needle. So the 3 nozzle is for a 3 needle. You have to change the nozzle every time you swap out your needles for a bigger or smaller needle. Remember that, guys. So now, like I said, this has got the equivalent of a 5 needle in there, so we're going to put that back on here like so. We're going to tighten this down. Up. Sit this in here. I don't know where this guy came from. Now, very carefully, put your nozzle back on. You'll get a little bit of beeswax that comes off. You take your tool and just gently tighten it. Don't over tighten it because you'll ruin your threads. And then you start looking at these pieces. This is going to come in handy in a second. Now, this piece here doesn't need a lot of oiling, guys, but Like see here, you take it out, there's a spring inside there. You just want to look inside there, make sure everything is good, which it is. And for this, just take a little oil, not a lot, and put it right here, just like so. And then with your finger, just run it through there, just like that. Any excess that's on there, take it off. You don't want this dripping in oil, guys. So now you want to sit this like so. Make sure it sits in there. This here, you see it's got that little groove there. You want to make sure that they match. This is with the 105. You get that all the way in there. Come on, you don't want to sit in there. Why is it there? And then make sure it moves up and down. Now for this, again, I don't want to lose this piece, so I'll put that. This is the only part of these airbrushes I don't like. I don't know why they don't have this like some of your Iwatas do, already welded. This part already welded to this end here, because these things are sometimes can be a pain. But there's a reason. There's a way to put it on there. You see that little notch there, guys? A lot of guys don't realize that notch is there, so you can slide this one way or the other. So the way you do that, always make sure that the bump end of this, that little groove, that end right here, this part right here faces towards the back of the airbrush. So you put it in this way, like so, turn it, and then move it off to the side like that there, like I just did right there. And that keeps it from falling out. With this piece here, again, you want to take a little bit of your beeswax on your finger. You don't need a lot. You see that? Very little. Put your beeswax on your threads. Make sure you get it around there. You take your end here. You start to put that in here. I'll explain what this piece is for back here. And you start getting that in there. Now what I'll do with this is I'll make sure it's sitting straight. I'll take my my trigger, which is, where did I put it? Here it is. Take my trigger, that's pretty clean. There's a little, you want to make sure that it sits. I don't know if you can look inside there, right inside there. There's your plunger for your air valve. You want to make sure there's a groove on the bottom of most of these. See it there? Make sure that your opening is facing horizontally. You get this inside there. Let me turn it. There it goes. It goes like this. And then up and down. Push up and down to make sure everything's working. Now you want to turn this. Make sure it locks into place. Like so. Get it all the way down. Back and forth. You see it moving now? Back and forth. Now, you got to be careful. You'll lose that. Now, with your needle, I'm sorry, I just dropped that. With your needle, you want to wipe it down, make sure it's clean. You take it. Now, you can use this or you can eyeball them. There's a light on the side here. You turn that little light. Come on, stupid little light, don't come on. Oh, battery's probably dead on it. There it is. There it is. So what you do is you look at your needle. There's a very slight bend at the tip here. So I'll just do this with my finger, or I'll take it down here on the side and just run it with my finger. And I've straightened it out. I wouldn't do that, guys, unless you know you've done it before. You can ruin your airbrush like that. I'm checking the needle and make sure it's okay. All right. Now, you can take a piece of Tamiya sandpaper and gently sand down here, or, and let me reach over here because I have it here. You can get some of this, guys. So you can get this at Home Depot, Ace Hardware. You can get a bag of this. This stuff comes in handy. This is what I sand down car bodies with. And you pull a little piece of it off. All you need is a small little piece. You're not going to use all this. But take a little piece of this, and this is what I do to polish and clean my needle. I'll just take it and do this. So you want to polish that needle down, make it nice and smooth. It's a longer process. I do this with all needles, even if they're brand new. And then you want to wipe that down, just like so. And then you want to take just a little bit of oil, not a lot, guys. You don't need a lot of this stuff. And just put a little bit right here, right on the end there, and just oil the needle, just like that. Take the needle. Oh, we're done. There it is. Make sure that's on there. Always press down on this end here so you don't bump the needle. I always do it this way. I hold it, slide it through, and then pull it all the way until it stops. Don't force it. The minute you feel some resistance, stop. And there it is. You can check your air valve, and I'll show you on the Iwata how to do that. So there it is, guys. That's how you clean an airbrush. It's that simple. It's that easy. Now, when you want to get inside here, you can use some acetone. You put a couple of drops, blow it through, or wipe it down. Same thing with a needle. You can use airbrush thinner, lacquer thinner, isopropyl, whatever your favorite cleaner is. But generally, that's how you clean an airbrush, guys. It's that simple. And that's how you clean a Badger Patriot. I'll get into the next video on how to clean an Iwata. We'll do this one in the next video. Because this one here, I'm going to take apart the air valve and take apart everything in here and show you how to clean it. So, I hope that was informative, guys. I'll be right back. So, that's how you tear apart an airbrush. That's how you. That's just basic cleaning, guys. In the next video, we'll take apart an Iwata. I wanted to show you how to take apart a Badger 105. It's very easy, but the nozzles are different, and I'll show you. This video was running a little longer than I anticipated, but I wanted to show you guys how to take it apart, what to look, how to check for any inconsistencies, any problems inside there, and go from there. With this one, with the Iwata, I'm going to actually take apart the air nozzle, pull all that out to show you guys how to clean it, how to maintain it, and as I do with the airbrush there. This stuff here is beeswax, guys. It's invaluable. It's been a big help to me. I've used it for years. An old timer told me about it many years ago, and I've never looked back. Yeah, there is, like, say, if you look here closely, you'll see a little plumber's tape on there, but it is what it is. This thing here is a godsend, guys. If you can afford one, you don't need one, but if you can afford it, it's great. If you have Iwata airbrushes, because you can save money when you change your own seals with this tool. You can do it with a small, one of those little micro screwdrivers also, but I find this tool works very good. I use it for just about everything. I also use it to change out seals on other airbrushes. But usually people will bring me their airbrush because they don't know how to take the seal out, or they're afraid to pull it out of there. That's where this comes in. We'll get into the Iwata brand. I'll also get into some more Badger airbrushes, also the harder and Steenbeck. But I wanted to show you guys basics, just a basic teardown of an airbrush and how to clean it. In the next video, we'll have a basic teardown of Iwata. And then I'm also going to try to keep it a little shorter than this one here. It ran a little longer, it went a little over 30 minutes. And, I know people's attention span being what it is. I don't want you guys to sit down and watch a video, longer than 15 minutes. But when you're doing stuff like this, it's kind of hard to do that, guys. So, in about a week or so, I'll have another video up. We'll talk about the Badger Eclipse. I'm going to use the Eclipse to do it. And maybe I might just pull out a, I don't know, the HPCH and show you guys that one too. But we'll do a teardown on an Iwata in the next video. You guys have a good one. I hope your week is productive, is safe. Be good to your families, brothers and sisters. Love your children. I always say that. Love your children. Leave the drama to the queens. We don't need it. Although it always has a way of finding people, but. you know, just turn your back on it. We don't need it in this community, you know, all the little gossip and bit. You know, leave it where it belongs with the queens. As far as that's concerned, man, you guys have a good one. Remember, we have the Red Dragon Model Works Facebook page community. I encourage you guys all to become members of it. Also, this right here, Styrene Syndicate, our YouTube page, and our Facebook communities. I encourage each and every one of you to become members of that also. You guys have a good one, man. Like I always say, build a goddamn model, brothers and sisters. Until next time, peace. It's Red Dragon saying, ciao.